Chelsea 3, Barcelona nil point. Oh, mate, that was not just an excellent win at Stamford Bridge in the Champions League. That was an iconic match that will go down in history and we will be talking about for years to come. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, that means talking about probably the best game of the season, right? For me, just from start to finish, in terms of the execution, the passion, the organisation, the fire, the opposition, the moment under the lights at Stamford Bridge, man, it had absolutely everything. I loved this game, man. I absolutely love this game. And it's just so much about where we are as a team and where we've come as well. But guys, before we get into it, if you're enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, so the lineup, man. We'll talk about the lineup first, and I've got to try and keep my brain together because so many good things happened in this game, but we'll try and keep it organised. So, I was actually 10 out of 11. I only got one wrong, and I'm not too bothered about the one I got wrong because it was an unusual call from Enzo Maresca that ended up paying dividends, so it was all good. We started with Robert Sanchez in goal, Malo Gusto at right back, a centre defensive pairing of Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana, which really glad we're still seeing that. Marc Cucurella on the left-hand side. Midfield was a trio of Moises Caicedo, as expected, Reece James, which again I think was a good decision, and Enzo Fernandez playing in the centre of attack. The forward line was comprised of Alejandro Garnacho on the left, Estevao Willian on the right, and Pedro Neto up top. That was the weird shout, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, right, one of two things is going to happen here. Either we win and it was a masterclass, or we lose and Enzo Maresca gets crucified for that decision. But fortunately, it was the former, not the latter, so all is good. And just out of the gates, man, out of the gates, we just saw something from this team that we've seen so rarely, and they played the game, but they also played the occasion, and they didn't let the occasion get the better of them. Bearing in mind, our team is so young. The passion, dedication, commitment, and organisation from everyone in the team and the manager from start to finish in this game was unquestionable. Hansi Flick's Barcelona are well known for playing a high line, right? And that was going to be the game, wasn't it? Exploit the high line, absolutely exploit the high line. And you can kind of see that is the reason that we put Pedro Neto up top, rather than the likes of João Pedro or Liam Delap, because we went for speed over bullishness or dropping deep technique. Do you know what I mean? And ultimately, it ended up paying off. Despite all of the amazing things that happened in this game, there were lots of really frustrating moments, man. To say we won 3-0, it could have been 6 or 7. The ball was in the back of the net like 7 times throughout this game, and the first time was in the 4th minute. Enzo Fernandez crashing late into the box, but it was called for offside. It was one of 4 offside calls that ended up not going our way. So like I say, man, it literally could have been, 6-7-0 by the end of it. It was absolutely mental. Barcelona had one really scary moment in the first half where Ferran Torres basically missed an absolute sitter. He was in an amazing position. It was the only time in the game that they really cut us open, and it was literally only minutes after our first disallowed goal. That could have changed the momentum of the game. If Barcelona would have got that early goal, that could have given them some momentum, but they didn't get it, fortunately, because like I say, Ferran Torres missed the absolute sitter, and we just continue to push. Enzo Fernandez will be gutted not to have scored in this game because he had the ball in the back of the net twice and it was ruled offside both times. But we'll move into player performances actually, because there's just literally so much to talk about with each individual player. But massive props to Enzo Fernandez for this game because he did really well. So player performances: Robert Sanchez, good game, good distribution, safe hands, absolutely just growing into the role. I'm still not convinced if he's the guy to take us forward in the long term, but at the end of the day, he is proving that he can pull it out in big games, man. PSG and now Barcelona in 2 really high profile games against 2 really strong teams with great attacks, right? At the end of the day, Barcelona were loaded with the likes of Robert Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford came on later, Rafinha, all of these players who are really well known for scoring loads of goals. But Robert Sanchez wasn't the reason at any point that we conceded, because we didn't concede and ultimately did a really good job. Malo Gusto had a good game. Malo Gusto seems to be consistently having good games at the moment. I think he's still not very good at the final ball or the goal or whatever, but you can see why the manager likes him so much. He executed his job really well. The defensive pairing of Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana has to be the two going forward, right? Especially like we've got the Arsenal game coming up next. We need to see both of those guys back in. Wesley Fofana has been a little bit transformative since he's come back into the team, hasn't he? And it's a really weird one. I remember before we lost him to injury, there was a stat that had come out about our win percentage with Wesley Fofana in the team versus without him. And it's weird because he doesn't feel like this Van Dijk character or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But the stats just say it, man. The stats just say it. When Wesley Fofana plays, we just play better. And Trevor Chalobah is going from strength to strength. He is becoming a really reliable guy at the back for us. I know he had a bit of a shaky couple of games earlier in the season, but ultimately he's come back from that really well. And like I say, paired with Fofana, just looks brilliant. Marco Correa. Oh, mate, Marco Correa. Marco Correa is hands down my favourite Chelsea player right now. He had Lamine Yamal locked up. He was not getting a sniff. They talked about it in the halftime commentary. Every single time Lamine Yamal was on the ball or trying to make an attack happen, Marco Correa was just there. He was on the inside or on the outside. He never gave Lamine Yamal a sniff of the ball at all, and it was a phenomenal job from Marco Correa yesterday. He is fantastic. Caicedo, unbelievable yesterday. Absolutely unbelievable. Oh, he's so good, man. Honestly, best number 6 in the world at the moment. I know there's probably an argument for Rodri when Rodri plays a lot and is on form, but without Rodri being there, man, Moises Caicedo is just, he's a bloodhound for that ball, man. He just gets it every single time, and he's such a good tackler. Unbelievable interceptions. Mate, Moises Caicedo, fantastic yesterday. Reece James, really good job. I am growing it more and more into liking the idea of Reece James in midfield, and I think with our lack of depth in midfield at the moment, seeing Reece James and sometimes Malagusto in midfield is going to be what happens. We're going to see it more often, and I'm not mad about it. Reece James was awesome yesterday and played his leadership role really well. This is another thing. I think Reece James plays his leadership role even better from the middle of the park because he can kind of get more involved in stuff. Phenomenal performance from him yesterday. Enzo Fernandez, gutted he didn't get a goal, man. Gutted he didn't get a goal, but that's, he's on a good patch of form at the moment, man, a really good patch of form. And not just with playing well as well, the leadership thing. He's running that midfield, man. He's absolutely running that midfield, and he's doing more and more. He should have scored. It's so annoying he didn't score, mate. But there's so many people should have scored yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So many people should have scored yesterday. But I really want to highlight Enzo Fernandez for a phenomenal performance yesterday. Alejandro Garnacho, good yesterday. Not unbelievable, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, he was getting dangerous, but he was a little bit locked up by Jules Koundé most of the time when it come to getting into good attacking positions. He was very available on that left side though, and he was seeing quite a lot of the ball, but he was struggling to find those scoring positions, which, at the end of the day, he played his part in the team really well, but, he's still really young and he's still developing, and this only sounds negative because I'm just comparing him to the performances of everyone else on the pitch yesterday, right? But ultimately, Alejandro Garnacho did a good job yesterday. Before we get to the absolute superstar, let's talk about Pedro Neto as well. Pedro Neto will also be gutted not to have got a goal yesterday, but he played really well. So the first goal we got was technically an own goal by Jules Koundé, but if Pedro Neto would have scored this goal, mate, that would have been phenomenal. It basically was crossed in, and Pedro Neto did this sideways back heel, and it literally if there was no defender in the way, it would have gone in the goal. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Obviously, but unfortunately, not unfortunately because we got the goal, but unfortunately for Neto, it rolled into the legs of Koundé, who kind of fumbled it, and it went into the back of the net. That was our first goal, and that is what opened everything up. But Pedro Neto would have been gutted not to have got that goal because it was a chef's kiss, mate, absolute chef's kiss. But at the same time, he just played really well yesterday. Do you know what I mean? You can see why he was chosen to play against that high line because he did get opportunities when the ball was passed through the middle or went over the top. He used his pace to be able to run onto it and start making things happen. Brilliant. And then there was Estevao Willian. Oh, mate, this kid, man. This kid's so good. So I predicted he would start yesterday. It felt like a good game for Estevao Willian to get, especially being that it wasn't going to be like a low block, and there are definitely going to be opportunities to find space and get the ball in dangerous positions for someone like Estevao Willian. He was phenomenal yesterday, man. Took a little bit of warming up into the game, but ultimately he was just a nuisance throughout the game, man. A real nuisance throughout the game. They've got some really good centre-backs as well, man. They've got some really good centre-backs. Older, their left-back, I think he is, did a reasonably good job at trying to keep him in tow, but ultimately it didn't happen because he got our second goal, and what a goal it was. Sat down, two of their defenders, dribbled in a little bit, with his weak foot, launched it into the net, and the crowd went wild, mate. I went wild, man. I was jumping around, I was going nuts. It was unbelievable. A real statement goal from Estevao William, man. It's like this kid's ceiling. I think it might, I haven't actually checked into this, but does that not make him our top goal scorer of the season now as well? I think with 5 goals, because the goals have been really spread out this season compared to having to rely on someone like Cole Palmer. But even with not getting consistently started every single game, Estevao William has now scored 5 goals for us this season. Yikes. This kid is so good, man. And the other beautiful thing about this as well was the narrative was obviously a lot about, Lamine Yamal, Estevao William. Lamine Yamal's been in the Barcelona team for a couple of seasons now, and he's one of their most potent attacking threats. He played unbelievably for Spain in the last Euros. But Estevao did the business, man. Estevao did the business. So that was the starting lineup, the general performance of the starting lineup. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is Barcelona went down to 10 men at just before, it was like 5 minutes before the end of the first half. Araujo, who is someone we were looking at and I definitely didn't want to look at in the summer when Levi Colwill got injured. He was their captain as well, and he just got himself sent off, man. 2 yellow cards, just bozo moments, man. Absolute bozo moments. And that really put Barcelona on the back line because they're not used to defending with 10 men behind the ball, or 9 men behind the ball, as it may well have been. And that really opened it up. So Estevao Williams' goal and the third goal, which I'll get into in a minute, came after they'd had a man sent off. I think we'd have won even if they hadn't had the man sent off, though. Honestly, I think we were just so in control of that game, absolutely. So let's talk about the subs. There were subs, and there were more subs that could have scored, but were ruled offside. Andre Santos, man. Andre Santos came on for Malagusto. Reece James went into right back. Malagusto, I think, might have picked up a little injury. But Andre Santos, coming off the back of an amazing performance against Burnley, joined our midfield and nearly got a goal really quickly for his troubles. Unfortunately, again, ruled offside. The annoying thing about these offside goals is obviously like that they didn't count. But what's really promising about them is the fact that we were getting into these positions. So I looked at the stats earlier. We had like 12 shots, do you know what I mean? And like 5 or 6 or maybe 7 of them were on target. And I assume that doesn't count the offside ones because the play stops then. So we were just getting chance after chance across the pitch as well. It wasn't like we were funneling all of our attacks through one person or just trying one way to win. Like, goals were nearly coming from everywhere, man. So fair play to Andre Santos. Liam Delap came on later and got a goal for his trouble. Again, it was when they went 10 men down, but that's massive for Liam Delap, man. That third goal coming from Liam Delap, really good striker's goal, calm finish. He's going to love that, man. And that, he hasn't scored. This is his first goal since he's come back from his injury. Do you know what I mean? And to get that against Barcelona at Stamford Bridge in the Champions League is massive. Absolutely massive. Other subs included Jamie Gittins, Tyreek George and Josh Achiampong, who ultimately got cursory minutes towards the end of the game. Nothing particularly special happened from them. But again, it's good to see, especially Josh Achiampong, getting some minutes in a game like this. And the fact that honestly, like a little bit disrespectful when you think about it, but the fact that we were able to throw 3 teenagers on, well, Jamie Gittins not a teenager, but 3 youngsters on at the end of the game because we were so comfortable. A little bit disrespectful, but I kind of love it. So that's it, guys. That's my ramble about the game. But I loved watching this game so much, man. It was the best game of football I've seen from Chelsea since the Club World Cup final against PSG. What does this mean, man? What does this mean? So props to Enzo Maresca. I haven't even talked about Enzo Maresca yet. What this means is Enzo Maresca knows how to beat a big team. He knows how to take advantage of a team that plays a high line. And this just makes you wonder, if we hadn't have had someone sent off in the Bayern Munich game, maybe we could have got something out of that too. This puts us 4th in the Champions League stage. So Enzo Maresca's done a really good job there. Our remaining games are against Napoli, Paphos and Atalanta. Napoli I expect to be tough and not quite as open as this one was, but all 3 of them are winnable games, man. So realistically, if we could win all 3 of those games and stay in the top 8, which means that we'll go straight through to that next round without having to play any more games, which would be phenomenal for us. That would literally be so good based on how many injuries we've had this season. But yeah, like I say, back to Enzo Maresca, man. This shows you that he is the man for a big event at the moment, and what he needs to do is learn how to beat a low block. A season isn't defined. I mean, the Champions League can be. Like, at the end of the day, we can play these big Champions League games and win. We've seen stuff like that with the Conference League and the Club World Cup. A bit of a cup team at the moment, ultimately where we need to keep improving. And even if we beat Arsenal, I still think this, do you know what I mean? We need to be able to beat Crystal Palace, Brentford, Fulham. Do you know what I mean? These teams that we need to, that are going to come at us with a low block. I know we beat Fulham actually, but ultimately we need to consistently be beating the teams that we should be beating. That is what is going to turn us into actual title challengers. If we beat Arsenal on the back of this Barcelona win, that's massive. That shows that we're there for the big event, which is cool. But if we go to Bournemouth and get a draw, then that shows you that that's where we need to improve. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, the longevity of our season and our success is not going to be measured by the big games. It's going to be measured, for me, by the games that we should be winning that we're not winning. So there's still the answer. How do we beat the low block? Cole Palmer's coming back. Liam Delap's getting goals. Estevao is getting better and better and better every day. Maybe we're getting close to that now just based on the team togetherness and the familiarity and people warming into their form, right? And at the end of the day, it's a World Cup year. A lot of the players are going to be on, their best behaviour in terms of performances because they're going to want to get into their international teams as well. Do I think we're on a title challenge? I know this is a Champions League related video. I still don't think we're on for a title challenge. But at the end of the day, I think that the Champions League isn't impossible. Genuinely, at the moment, I think we've got a better chance of winning the Champions League than we do of winning the Premier League. Just because Enzo Maresca clearly knows how to turn up against a big team in a big situation and adapt his team like he did, in PSG, for instance, when we played PSG. Malo Gusto played almost an orthodox right-back, right-wing-back role, which is something he hadn't been doing for ages, and it made a massive difference. In this game, we start with Pedro Neto up top because we want to take advantage of their high line with pace. Enzo Maresca is good at making these little tactical changes for the big games, 100%. But like I say, for me, what we need to do is beat Arsenal. That would be amazing, just for the scenes, man, just for the scenes. But also what we really need to do is learn how to beat the low block and consistently be able to beat the teams that we're supposed to be getting points against. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap the video up there. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end if you did. What an absolute game, and I'd love to know what you think about it in the comments, man. Talk to me about your favourite moment, your man of the match. For me, it was Cucurella. I think he was just absolutely phenomenal. Yes, Estevao was phenomenal as well, but over the entire 90 minutes, Cucurella was just absolutely brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. So tell me, who was your man of the match in the game? Do you think that we have a chance of winning the Champions League after seeing a performance like this, or are we getting a little bit too excited? And ultimately, I would love to know what you think is going to happen against Arsenal this weekend. So that's it, guys. Nice one. But if you are chilling and you want to check out some more Stamford Sync, then I implore you to listen to this video here, which is a video I released yesterday about the 10 youngest Chelsea debutants ever in the Champions League. Nice one, guys. I hope you have an absolutely wicked day. Take it easy. Peace.